So you ran out of space on a Google Cloud virtual machine. It's booting up, but you can't log into it. I'm running into this. I ran into this last night, and I just figured out a quicker and easier way to fix this. So first off, you take the disk, right? We're going to clone the disk, which you can just find the disk, right-click on it, and hit clone, which is behind my video here. Right there. Clone the disk. Okay. After that, we go and we create a new virtual machine, and we attach the disk to it. Pretty easy so far, right? Just Resizer. It's just a Debian 10 image. Yeah, and this disk is attached. And then we start it and we SSH into it. I'm going to show you why I got confused and how we can fix it a lot quicker and easier. So I'm just going to SSH in and have this load up here. And so the reason that I got confused is because the partitions are labeled in a different order than they're actually partitioned on the disk. All right, so when we look at lsblock, we know that SDB is the one of this Debian image, not the one that we're concerned with. SDA is the one that we're concerned with. All right, so I've already gone in and I've resized that disk from the 25 gig it was originally up to 125. But I got confused because SDA1 is the root partition that I actually need to resize. And it looks like it comes before 14 and 15, which are the boot partitions. But when we print this out here, if you look at the sectors, 1 actually starts at the sector after 15 ends. Cool, right? What does that mean? That means that we can go in here and I think it's D. What's the command I need to hit? D to delete a partition. We'll delete 1. We'll make a new partition for 1. First sector is the same sector that was on, 227.328, 227.328. And the default last one will just be the full size, and it's going to be a Linux file system. I'm going to write that to disk. Yes. Secondary header is placed too early on the disk. Do you want to correct the problem? Yes. Okay. Not sure what that means, but we'll see if this works. Either way, it's a clone of the disk, and hopefully this will all be successful. All right. LS block. We now have a... It's still a 24 gig partition. I would have expected that to be bigger. Maybe I need to run... Is it part probe? And it's still not getting it. Let's try to reboot this. Okay, our instance rebooted here. And now we're at SDB. And it still didn't update it. Total free space is here. Partition will be aligned on 24 boundaries. Most usable sector is 34. Let's try this one more time in the same fashion that we just did. New partition 1. First sector is there. This time we're just going to limit it to 100 gig. And that's the right code. Okay, right. We'll write it. Okay, so this time, SDB, it's 100 gigabytes. And we'll run this resize to FS, SDB1. So E2FSCK-F. Checking blocks, checking sizes. Now we're going to resize it. Cool. Now let's see if it's where it's supposed to be. And it has the stuff we're expecting. And it does. Right on. So now this image has been resized and I can go put it back as the boot disk on my main VM that I wanted it on and see if that works. I'm running into these login issues that was really confusing. It just wouldn't accept any SSH into the box. And then whenever I'd finally get into it, like using the gcloud command line utility, I wouldn't have any sudo privilege. So I couldn't actually like change users or anything. And it was confusing until I finally looked at the disk usage and figured out that it was full. So just to finish things up here, we're going to go in and edit this instance and remove that disk. Hopefully it's stopped by now. There we go. Stopped. Move in here to storage disk, additional disks, FLB1 resize 2 is what we're going to be looking at. Remove that, save it, go back over to our other VM, and we're going to look here when it loads. Can we load up? So I could have done this yesterday because I ran into the same issue. But to get around that, I actually took the snapshot of the clone of the disk and restarted a new instance with that. It took a lot more time than what this would take. All right, so we're looking at FLB1. Edit it. I like the GCP platform, but it's a little slow sometimes to load up things. There we go. So we're going to go through here and go to the boot disk. And there's an option around here to remove the boot disk. Detach boot disk. There we go. Configure boot disk. And we're going to look for existing disks. FLB1 resize 2. What do you think? Is it going to work? Is it going to work? Save it. Wait for it to finish saving this time so we can actually load it up. And we'll come over here and start it. All right, FLB1. It'll be really nice to get into this. That way we can just keep rolling with the other videos. Start. Yes, start it. They hide the start option in this hamburger menu, not hamburger menu, extra menu. And then you still have to click confirm again to do the most common thing you're going to do in this panel. It's all right. You know, I'm not a UX designer. There's probably a good reason for it. I play with the data. So, let's see, we'll give it another moment. That's a lie. Went ahead and clicked on it and see what's going to load up. Previous testing has shown this takes about 20 clicks to get through, but only if you're furiously clicking. For us, it'll probably take 3 today. Let's see. I would pause the video and keep going, but we'll all live in suspense together. Hey, look at that. But it still has an issue. All the available space being used. Did it not mount the new disk? Or it did mount it and didn't use it? That's our disk. That's the one that's resized, and we can see it's resized properly, but it didn't use it. So let's figure that out. Never mind, can't do that because it won't accept any passwords right now. Yes, I want to stop it. That's why I click stop. Let's see what it shows as the boot disk. Storage boot disk is that one. Additional disks. these 2 additional disks, and so for some reason it's trying to boot off disk 3. I wouldn't have expected that. So for now, we're just going to try to edit it and remove disk 3 and see if it behaves. By the way, for the 3 people who ever find this, who actually run into this issue, I hope this will fix it for all of us. Here's our boot disk that we want. Here's 3, but I really shouldn't attach it because it is using that. If the type matters at all. I'll start getting my controls over here. All right, going in 11 minutes so far. We've detached that disk. It's saving. Give it another moment. Fully saved. We'll go to the VM instances. Maybe we can just click start here. Yes, I want to start the box. Can you imagine if real machines, like you turn it on, it says, "Are you sure you want this to turn it on?" We'll see. All right, starting the box. Come over here. And we'll click SSH. All right. Looking, maybe. Figure this will be one of the videos that I just add to the channel somewhere, and if you end up clicking on it, cool, we got to meet for a few minutes. Hope that you've scrolled over to go quicker. There we go, look at that. Now we are in this box, has a resized image, has all the other data that I'm expecting it to have. That would be in home/Kevin. Right on. So I could have done this yesterday to speed up this whole process a little bit. But whatever, figured it out today. This works. That means just to make sure, I can go back over to the code. Let's make sure this. Just need the IP address. And we're back in business. Cool. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did.